Hi again. In this video I'm going to show you how I make this snowman ornament. His beanie is actually the same beanie that I used to demonstrate how to make this guy. So I'm going to actually insert that video of the beanie into this video, so that will be previously recorded. But other items that we're going to need for the body, just using a white, and you need about a 1/2 ounce of yarn, so any yarn you want to use. And for the beanie, again, you only need the beanie and the scarf together are typically about less than 1/2 ounce, so you don't need a whole lot. The pieces, I've got these arms that I got from Amazon, and I actually use them for my big snowman, but they also work for this little guy, I think, too, just as well. And same with the nose. I like this Sculpey clay that you bake up and just make little noses. So those are super easy to make and kind of fun, a little distraction. And then I've got a couple of eyes that I'm going to use. For this guy, I used safety eyes that I had, and I just glued them in as opposed to trying to get the washer on the back, because the washer tends to, I don't like the result that you get from those, so I'm just trying to find different ways to use those without using the washer. So in this case, I just took a hot glue gun and glued those in. So that's the 8mm eyes, and then for the buttons I used 6mm eyes. But for this next one, I'm going to use a couple of buttons for the buttons, and I've got these beads and I'm going to try using those for the eyes instead. So you probably can't see it, but there is a little hole through there that it's actually a bead, so I'm just going to sew that on with some thread. So you need a hook. I've got a size G 4.0, yarn needle, and scissors, and you need a little stuffing. For the snowman body, we're just going to chain 25. And so I'm going to put a slip knot on there. And then chain 25, and you're going to want to do that somewhat loosely, not too tight. Now we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one where our work's coming out of, but not this one, but we're going to go over here to this one. We're going to do a single crochet in the second chain, and then we do a single crochet all the way across. Once you get to the end, you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn. Now we're going to do a single crochet all the way across, and we're not going to worry about the back loops or the front loops. We're going to go into both of the whole stitch, the front loop and the back loop. Do a single crochet. We're just going to go right into the next one. Going under both loops, the front loop and the back loop. We're just going to go all the way across till we get to the end. And you're just going to want to make sure you pick up every stitch. So we've got a couple more here. That one's easy to see, but this one isn't quite as easy to see, but it is there. So when you're done, you're going to have 24 stitches. And then you get to the end, you're just going to chain 1 and turn, and then just go into that first stitch and single crochet all the way across. Now you're going to repeat that until you have about 20 rows. So here we got 20 rows, and you're just going to want to cut and leave yourself a nice long tail. We're going to need 2 more pieces about 12 inches long for the middle of the body and the cinching up the bottom. So for now, our rows are going to go, this is top to bottom, so our rows are going to go vertical. So we're going to sew the sides together like that. So I'm just going to take my yarn and sew all the way up the back. Put a little extra one here at the top. Tie my ends together. Now, before you go and cinch the top, take one of your strands, and we're just going to take this one around about the middle. So we've got 25 stitches, so somewhere between the 10th and the 11th stitch. Right about there. You got your seam right here. And we're just going to go along and grab, stitch all the way along. Because we're going to use this thread for cinching up the middle. Just a little easier to do it now before you stuff the body. Now we can take this piece for the top and go in and grab some stitches along the top so we can cinch up the top of the head. Don't have to get every row, just try to make it even. Alright, we're back to the beginning here. We're just going to pull on it till it's most of the way closed up. We're going to have a hat, so there's room for imperfection there. And we're actually going to need these strands on the other side of the, before we turn them inside out, so we're just going to run those through. In order to grab them. All right, now we can stuff the head. All right. We can take our strings and tighten that up. Doesn't have to be over tight, just giving your snowman a little shape. Just run these right into the body there. Now we can do some more stuff. Next, we can take our other strand, cinch up the bottom, start back here at the back, And just go around. Alright, and then we're just gonna tighten that up. Now for the scarf, we're going to chain 3. So we just do a slip knot. And we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to go back into the second chain from our hook. So we've got 3 chains all together. We're going to go into the middle one, do a single crochet. We'll go do a single crochet in the first one. At the end. Now we just chain 1 and turn. And we have 2 stitches, so we're just going to repeat this all the way up. We're just going to do a single crochet there, a single crochet in the next one, chain 1 and turn. We're just going to do 2 single crochet, chain 1, turn. We're just going to keep doing that until we have about 40 rows. Your scarf's going to be about this long, and it stretches pretty good too, so once you stretch it out, it's going to be about this long. Wrap it around the neck and have a little extra tail there. So you're just going to want to weave in your ends, or you can make some fringe on the end, and then we're going to need a hat. So I'm going to switch over to a previously recorded video to show you how to do the beanie, and then I'll be back to put it all together. Alright, for our beanie, you're going to want to chain 16. So we'll start with a slip knot. And try not to chain too tightly. Now we're going to go into the second chain from the hook. So not this one, but this one. Go right in there, and we're going to single crochet. So just go in, grab your yarn, pull it through 2. Then we'll go into the next one and we'll do a single crochet. And we're just going to single crochet all the way across our chain row. Then you're going to do a chain, and then you're going to turn your work. So you're going to want to turn it like a page. So you just turn it from right to left this way, because we're going to get into the back loops of that last round. So we're not going into this first one. That's where our work is coming out of. We're going into the next one. So right here. So we keep our yarn nice and snug there. So we're just going into the back loop. I do a single crochet in there. So we're just going to go along the back row, the back loops, and do a single crochet all the way across. Now the important thing is to make sure that you don't lose any stitches or gain any stitches along the way. So we're going to want to make sure that we have 15 all the way across. And so you just want to make sure you're picking up that last stitch right there, and sometimes that gets a little bit buried in there. When in doubt, you just stop and count your stitches. Now you're just going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to do that same thing again. We're not going into that first one where our work's coming out of. We're going to go into the next one right there and get the back loop. And then just go along and do the back loops all the way across. For this one, I used 18 rows, and it's going to vary depending on your yarn that you use and the tension in your stitches, but this should be about the right size. And I've got about 5 inches or so, and then you're going to want a nice long tail for sewing up the side. Fold that over. Just kind of lay them side by side. Line it up and then just go back and forth. Once you get to the top, you're going to want to tie it off to that end. Like so, and then we want to cinch our top shut, so make sure you look at both sides and see which one you want to be your outside or your inside. In this case, it doesn't really matter, but I think we'll do this on the outside, so, or the inside, so we'll just call this our inside out. And I'm just going to go through a few stitches around the top, like every other row. And just grabbing those stitches all the way around. Till we get back to the beginning here. And then we can just cinch it closed. Tie it up. Next, we're going to make a little palm for our beanie, so we'll just grab like a piece of cardboard. This is about 3 inches wide, so I'm just going to wrap it around a few times. So probably about 25 times. Just like we did for the beard. Keep a couple of strands long. And the nice thing about winter is I get these really dry sandpapery hands. And you can makes really great palms. And we're just going to run it down just to the side of the center. So here's our center. We're going to run it right down the side of that. And the other side. We went down here. There's the center, so we'll just go to the other side of the center. Turn it back inside out so we can get it nice and snug. Don't want that palm going anywhere. All right, let's put them all together. So I've got these two beads that I'm going to use for the eyes. Find our back. I'm going to use this. And put that nose in there. I'm going to trim that thing down. He's got way too long a nose. We'll start with the eyes right about there. This thread that I'm using is kind of a heavy duty thread, not quite as thin as regular thread. It's called dual duty, but I don't know if you can get this one anymore because I think this one's been around since about 1980. That tells you how often I sew. But good thing I kept it around all this time. You never know. All right, we're just going to thread it through. And I'll secure it. Like so. And then we'll come through again. And this time I'm going to head on over to the other eye. He's going to be right about there. Put my other eye on. Okay, it needs to go there. And we'll come back through the eye again. Now, you can tighten it all up. And as I do, it kind of pulls it tight. So it kind of sinks those eyes in a little bit. Going back and forth, pulling out a little slack as I go both ways. We can get rid of that for right now. And then I'm going to go back over to the other eye. This time I'm going to tie it to my other thread. Make sure I got all the slack out of there. I'm even going to give it a little extra cinch, because the more you tighten it, it just puts those eyes, sinks those eyes in a little bit so they don't stick out. The eyes. Let's do the buttons now. Right about there. Now I think this nose that I made is a little bit too big, so that's the nice thing about this Sculpey clay. Trim it down to size. And then, if you want to, you can glue the nose in with your hot glue. And we need our arms. You can also glue the arms in. Now we need our hat. I've got a string about 12 inches long. Gonna use that for the ornament hanger. So we'll find the back. We'll just go right here, right behind the palm. Grab a couple of good stitches there. That's all we need to do there. Put our hat on. And then just need to sew around. We're just going to use a piece of the same color yarn for that. Get it about where we think it should be, and then roll it down a little bit. Then we're just going to take our yarn, start at the back, and go about half an inch to an inch up. We're just going to go around the head. So if you do, wherever you come up here, you'll just go back down about a quarter inch over, and then you can go over another nice big space here. We're just kind of tacking it on a little bit. So we came up here. I'm just going to go right back down here. And as you're going around, you just want to double check and make sure that it doesn't get shifted and you're getting it exactly where you want it. But we came up here, and we'll just go right back down here, then cruise on over about a ½ inch or so. I have a bad habit of leaving myself too short a yarn to play with. And you get back around to the back, just give it a knot. And we can roll them back up. And shave. Just give them a squish. Add our scarf. Take this one over the top like so. Push it up through. Flip it over. There they are. Aren't they cute? So I hope you enjoyed making those as much as I did. And I also made another video where I made these gnomes. So check that out. And I got some other ideas for some more ornaments. So stay tuned. And so we'll see you on another video. Bye.